It's 2 o'clock this afternoon. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera semua. Welcome again to this afternoon's online session with EPS Group C Cigu. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for your attendance this afternoon. And before we kick off today's session, may I invite, please, Cigu Zuno to lead the recitation of Surah Fatihah. Silakan Cigu Zuno.
Astaghfirullahaladzim, astaghfirullahaladzim, la ilaha illallah wa la ilaha illallah. Ila billahi wa sifat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Arrahmanir rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Amin, amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Semoga Allah Ta'ala merahmati dan memberkati sesi kita ni pada petang ini. Terima kasih banyak-banyak Cikgu Zena. Alright. Okay, Cikgu, as usual, this is my introduction slide. Everybody calls me Haja Erni, and you've been attending my session for several times, I think more than 5 times now. So that's my contact details. And may I introduce to Abis kita, Cikgu, the title of today's training session is under the component of designing effective learning tasks, which is focusing onto this particular rubric, Cikgu, C2.4, how do teachers use textbooks and other resources? So in my next slide, I will be sharing with Abis kita, where are you at in this program, Cikgu? All right, I will be showing Abis kita the helicopter view of where are we in this program so far, Cikgu, inshallah, yeah? All right, sit back and relax, Cikgu. We just want you to enjoy the session. And I know you have a long morning today. And yeah, kita ni chill saja, Cikgu. I hope you can just grasp as many things as possible from my presentation this afternoon. All right, Cikgu, can you give me your reactions, please? Just to remind me that there are participants at the end of this line for me, Cikgu. I'm all alone in my training room, Cikgu. Thank you very much for your reactions. All right. So I appreciate our co-hosts will be helping me to continue to share your attendance form during the session, Cikgu. And what is our today's agenda? As usual, Cikgu, I have always been demonstrating ara abis kita how to structure your lessons, Cikgu. So the way I structure the training is always kicking off with a starter activity, and then I will be presenting the main PD lesson. The main PD, Cikgu, kalau kita main lesson input to Cikgu, and it will have to be in episodes. And in my case, there will be 2 objectives this afternoon for me to achieve, inshallah. And we'll finish off with a plenary session, Cikgu. And the title of the plenary is Give Me 5. All right. Moving on, Cikgu, I just want to remind Abis kita, all objectives throughout our training session under EPS and Cikgu Educators Professional Support is always hitting Band 5 expectations. So these two objectives, Cikgu, you can find all these expectations in the rubric C2.4 or Band 5. All right, so we will always be taking the opportunity during our session to show our participants, demonstrate to our participants how does these expectations will look like in our classroom practices with our students in the classroom. Okay, moving on, Cikgu. Now, I promised Abis kita today, where are we at during this in this program, Cikgu? All right, where are you at? Before I delve into this, Cikgu, because there are 37 of us in this session already, I just want to mention that at the moment, we are conducting several webinar sessions senegara cigo, nationwide approach cigo supaya so we can tackle more participants but via your school leaders. So just to remind abis kita cigo, just in case if your school leader requested you to attend, just explain to them nicely that you are already in this program and dorang tahu tu kita dalam program EPS and then webinar ataupun namanya webinar EPS webinar. Jadinya you don't necessarily join the webinar again because you are part of this program already and bis kita untung lah bis kita dari awal mengikuti bahan-bahan kami ini Beciko and with your participation in this program it gives us the opportunity, it gives me the opportunity to pilot all my materials during my training sama abis kita. So syukur alhamdulillah masa saya sama group A, group B face to face and then online lagi sama abis kita, I was able to pilot my material. So far, alhamdulillah, every time saya bagi training Arabis kita, saya lurus-luruskan apa semua just to make sure that guru-guru dapat faham bah and through your evaluation, saya dapat memperbaiki lagi cikgu, menghalusi lagi materials yang akan dipersembahkan arah semasa webinar itu. So just a short reminder untuk habis kita juga for you to that you are exempted from the webinar. Okay, unless habis kita voluntarily mau attend, that's a different story. All right. Now, let me get back to where we are at juga during this in this program juga. Now, I remember showing this to Abis kita back in late October and early November last year about the expectations of teaching for mastery for Brunei teachers. Okay, so far cikgu yang saya highlight so far macam remember I did this in January sama Abis kita tackling these two rubrics masa Abis kita awal-awal sama saya I introduced to Abis kita segala chat GPT, segala all that 10 expectations of elements to be included in your lesson planning juga. So we have covered that already. There are altogether four components of teaching for mastery, and then structure and organizing lessons effectively. Itu selesai sudah first component. And then we moved on to the second component juga on teaching content dialogically. Alright, teaching content dialogically ini membaca 4 rubrics. Alhamdulillah cikgu, Masya Allah, Alhamdulillah. We have already covered this cikgu. Semua 1.3A, 1.3B, 1.3C and 1.3D. Bukannya macam alang-alang saja kita tahu pasal dialogic teaching ini cikgu. Kita tahu sudah menyeluruh. Alright, kita tahu sudah menyeluruh because rubric 1.3A is covering on questioning strategies. How do we question our students during lessons? And then 1.3B, we were tackling about the different types of questions that you can ask to students during lessons. Now you understand the differences between open and closed questions and what's the difference between testing, focusing, and general inquiry questions. Those are the things that we cover in rubric 1.3B. And then in rubric 1.3C, cikgu, rubric 1.3C, we covered on how to respond to students' answers. And I have introduced to Abis kita the CAR strategies, cikgu, comparing students' answers, adding to more responses from other students, and then R, revoice, repeat, and semacam itu lagi cikgu. R sebutin lagi, revoice, repeat, rephrase, I think. All right. So we covered that. And then 1.3D, if you remember, how do we make sure that if you have 25 students in the classroom, making sure that all the 25 of the students in the classroom are on board with Abis kita? How? Apa saja akan dibuat ni? So one of the activities that we did for this rubric was I introduced Abis kita snowballing activity cikgu and many others. All right. So far cikgu, we have tackled completely these two components cikgu of teaching for mastery. And then sometimes last week or last 2 weeks cikgu, we have covered in the beta cikgu. All right. And sometimes last 2 weeks, I mean, we covered, cuba kita lihat. Remember when we did cikgu, grouping strategies. Saya explain Abis kita, how do you organize and group your students? I introduced to Abis kita envoy and fishbowl, and also jigsaw. So we have covered C2.3C. And today, Chigo, part of designing effective learning tests ini is C2.4 on how do we use textbooks and other resources. Alright, pasal nombor satu, planning. Nombor dua, baca dialog sama kanak-kanak dalam kelas. Tapi komponen nombor tiga ini, Cikgu, apa keraja yang akan dibagi arah kanak-kanak? Apa keraja, Bang? Dan apa kerja akan dibagi anak-anak itu menyeluruh juga, menyeluruh. Not just we know how to group our students, but also apa bahan-bahannya, apa bahan yang akan kita pakai untuk menyediakan kerja anak-anak ini. And then I will be doing with Abis kita sometimes at end of June nanti insyaAllah, we'll be covering C3.1 and C3.2 juga. And those two rubrics are covering differentiated instructions, inshallah ta'ala, inshallah. So nanti moving on to end of June and early July, I think, on 3.2. And then we're going to have pause, a break for this program, Cikgu, because bulan 8 itu awal bulan sudah kita ni cuti sekolah, Cikgu. So we only have like July to finish off the designing effective learning tasks. And then I have requested Cikgu Sarul to like postpone pasal bulan Ogos kita ni cuti. Ujung bulan Ogos sudah kita ni buka sekolah. By the time bulan 9, Cikgu, we'll be preparing our students for exams and then revision and then revision dulu and then exams bulan 10 bla bla bla. Kalau akan dibiskan boleh pulang ni, Cikgu. But rasa saya Indah memungkinkan kita ni untuk Indah akan digagaskan sebenarnya, Cikgu. That's the thing. Indah akan digagaskan barang ini. So I personally request Cikgu Syarul so that I can continue this bit, the 4 rubrics, in third week of January next year. InsyaAllah ta'ala, Cikgu. Moga Allah ta'ala izinkan dan mudahkan untuk kita ni semua. So we'll have a break, Cikgu. Okay? So, and then moving on to this, thank you for the thumbs up, Chico Haniro. And moving on to this wall, Chico, you have seen this wall in BDLTA, and I, I just want to show abis kita semua, where are you at? Because we have covered 2 components completely, Chico. So Alhamdulillah, Chico, we have covered all aspects of first TFM, semua done already. And then the second aspect on dialogic teaching, Cikgu, semua covered already. Alhamdulillah, Cikgu. And, excuse me, Alhamdulillah. And then, semua ni Cikgu, semua cover sudah ni Cikgu, semua cover. Faham bis kita. Kalau kita ni bercakap pasal apa-apa barang-barang yang dalam blog ni, at least kita faham apa yang kami maksudkan. And then C2.3C pun sudah kita ni cover, Cikgu, on grouping students, because we demonstrated anak habis kita snowball, jigsaw, envoy, fishbowl. Ini pun kita ni cover sudah, Cikgu. So we have covered so many blocks, Cikgu. We grow together as a team, Cikgu. Alright, so all these are all the expectations of Pen 5. Jadinya, and yet today we are going to cover penggunaan materials, Cikgu, C2.4. This is what we are going to cover today, Cikgu. So artinya lagi banyakkan untuk habis kita macam holistically memahami expectations yang ada dalam BTS TPA, Cikgu, especially rubrics on teaching for mastery. Okay, I will have them in English and I have them in Malay, Cikgu. So tidak apa-apa, so mana-mana bis kita, di antara bis kita yang mengajar dalam bahasa Melayu ataupun agama dan sastra dan sebagainya, it might be you have access to the Malay version of this wall, Cikgu. Alhamdulillah. So that's my introduction to where we are at in this program, Cikgu. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Now, a starter activity, Cikgu. Starter activity. Alright, moving on to the starter activity, Cikgu. Bercakap pasal resources bagi kita ni, mencari bahan-bahan yang dapat kita gunakan untuk pengajaran, untuk kanak-kanak belajar di dalam kelas kita ni. So, I want to invite each and every one of you, Cikgu, to self-reflect. You do not need to answer me. You do not need to write your responses in the chat box. I just want you to answer these questions, the following questions, dalam hati saja, cikgu. Alright, dalam hati saja. What are my questions, cikgu? Yang pertama, during lessons, cikgu, when you prepare your lessons for your students, cikgu, do you rely solely on the textbook? Alright, do you rely on this textbook as the source of learning task? Pasal, benar je tu. Macam lepas ajar, kita ni selalu, okay class, open to page 35, exercise 1.2, we are going to do question 2, 3, and 5. Contoh cikgu. Have we been doing this all the way? Yes or no? So I just want to invite habis kita muhasabah diri cikgu. And then, do you often ask your students to complete some textbook exercises, all right, as the main activity during your lessons? You may or you may not. So, Allahu Alam, just keep the answer to yourself. And then, do you sometimes ask your students to copy something from the textbook and then taruh other notes? Maybe. All right. And then, do you solely use textbooks and not complementing them with other resources? Macam 100% memang kita ni kena pakai textbook tu dah saja. Macam satu textbook tu perasaan kita ni macam cukuplah sudah untuk dijadikan bahan rujukan kepada kanak-kanak kita ni dalam kelas. Now, itu not complementing itu artinya kita ni dah menggunakan bahan rujukan yang tambahan-tambahan yang lain juga. Just the textbook saja. Macam kalau macam primary school, bis kita ada textbook sebutingan ni untuk subjek social studies, untuk MIB. So bis kita pakai itu saja. So what are your answers to these questions? Cikgu, you just keep them to yourself. All right? And then all these expectations, cikgu, yang saya pada kenal habis kita yang soal nombor 1, soal nombor 2, soal nombor 3, soal nombor 4. Well, you know the responses for your own teaching practices because I've never been to your lesson. If you have been doing this, cikgu, that's a red flag. That's a red flag, cikgu. All these expectations ini sebenarnya semua ni arah band nomor 1. This is band 1. Band 1. Unsatisfactory. So that means we have the opportunity, PDLTA has the opportunity this afternoon to let us all explore macam mana untuk menggunakan bahan-bahan rujukan yang lain selain daripada textbook untuk bahan pengajaran penuntut kita ni dalam kelas. Alright, so I hope I make this clear to each and every one of you. And let me move on, yeah. Alright, baru lagi starter activity saya ni, cikgu. So for starter activity, cikgu, I have shared habis kita on the screen examples and non-examples of learning resources because bahan resources artinya bahan juga bahan-bahan pembelajaran. Alright, macam mana kan bahan pembelajaran ini? Ini sampai sudah jawapan ni cikgu, textbook memanglah bahan pembelajaran. Tapi saya mau habis kita pada arah saya pada petang ini, please use the chat box, cikgu. Jangan ada rasa malu kah ataupun apa ke, cikgu. I want to engage habis kita pada petang ini. I just want to make sure that you are really on board with me during this session, cikgu. So please type in because I'm so interested to know from habis kita punya perspectives, cikgu. What are the examples? I do not want the non-examples, cikgu. Please tell me in the chat box what are the examples of learning resources sebenarnya because there's so many vast amounts of resources in the internet, cikgu. So mesti kita ni tahu melihat yang mana satu yang learning resources, yang mana satu yang bukan. All right. Do you want to start responding to me in the chat box, cikgu? Can you type what are the, you may want to type just the number, I think, or maybe you want to type in, yeah, sana. Edpuzzle, word wall, Padlet. Yep, all right. Those are the examples. But yes, Cikgu Zaria, thank you very much. Those are some extra examples. But I want you to choose from all these 19 choices that I am showing with Abis kita because school educational trip, yes, school educational trip number berapa tu, cikgu? Artinya yang dalam tu, cikgu. All right. So what about quiz is, yes, quiz is atau kirakan yang mana satu tu cikgu? Learning apps or educational games. All right, videos, but what sort of videos, cikgu? Now, I think I haven't given you clear instruction, cikgu. What I want from Abiskita, yes, thank you very much, cikgu Hadi. Educational videos, online courses, educational games. Now, you're going to choose from these examples cikgu, because semua ni cikgu ni, cuba kita lihat ni semua ni yang nombor 1 sampai nombor 19. You tell me which ones of these, number 1 until 19, yang learning resources. Okay. If you do not understand that question, inda palang papa, because I can always tweak my question. I'm going to tweak. Ya, saya akan tukar soalan saya, cikgu. All right, my next question is, tell me which one of these resources, pasal semua ni resources kan, cikgu, number 1 until 19 are non-examples of learning resources. Bukannya learning resources, cikgu. Please tell me, yang mana satu yang bukannya learning resources from this list of number 1 until 19? Number educational games, sports, music instruments, yang non-learning resources juga. Kalau yang Cikgu Nazib, number 13 ya. Number 13 apa tu? Household appliances, of course. That's an example of non-learning resources. Number 8 and 15. Number 8, entertainment media. Yes, of course, entertainment media bukannya learning resources. Number 8 and 15. 8, entertainment media sama 15. 15 ni apa? Fashion magazines, of course. Number 2 pun bukannya interactive whiteboards. Interactive whiteboards, Cikgu. Let us check ya, sekarang Okay, number 16, Cikgu Farid. Number 16, fictional novels, all right? Number 13, household appliances. And then Cikgu Zaria, 15 and 8. 15 and 8, apa tu? Fashion magazines and entertainment media. Number 5, simulation software. Cikgu Dania. And Cikgu Muhammad Alimin, 13, 9, and 12. 13 is household appliances. And number 9 is personal diaries. Number 12 is music albums. Alright, saya dilema cikgu. Saya sebab as a sociology tutor, all these teaching resources are all about society. But okay, ada karang yes. Thank you very much, cikgu. Thank you very much for your Sekarang kita ni discuss kesesuaian mengikut subjek dan umur, cikgu. Yes, thank you very much. And then Cikgu Adriana. Alright. 8, 13, and 15. All right. So, Andi, saya akan, I just want to jentik habis kita cikgu as a starter activity. So, this is what we're going to discuss during our training session this afternoon. Alhamdulillah. So, as usual, cikgu, lepas saya bagi bis kita just one slide of this starter activity. Sebenarnya, kalau kita ni buat face-to-face, cikgu, this is always the best activity if you want to have engagement of students during your lessons, cikgu. This always work, cikgu. So kalau kita ada kan kena observe kan kena apakah, subhanallah, cikgu, this will be a wonderful starter for you to kick off your lesson. Your students will always, kita suruh dorang partner, suruh dorang pilih mana satu examples, yang mana satu non-examples. Your students will really talk. Atau yang kita mau juga interaction and engagement. Alright, so I'm just modeling habis kita, just in case you are going to be needed to being observed for TPA lesson observation. This is always the best example, cikgu. Alright, I'm just modeling habis kita. So let us check our responses, cikgu. Let us check the solution. Now, because bearing in mind, yaitu cikgu Asian tadi, she's a sociology tutor. Alright, but yeah, let us go through this. These are the responses, cikgu. Yes, textbooks are learning resources. Ini jawapan untuk examples of learning resources. Bukannya non ni, cikgu. Bukannya non. So, ini yang learning resources. Interactive whiteboards, online courses, simulation software is a learning resource, cikgu. Educational videos, podcasts, learning apps, experiment kits, and educational games. Tapi yang lain itu ikut kesesuaian. Apa subjek kita ajar. Alright, decorative artwork kata ba? Kalau we student art, atau kirakan learning resources. Itu cikgu ni, decorative artwork number 17. All right. So, all right, I'm done with my starter activity. This is what we're going to explore for the next 1 hour of our session this afternoon. All right.